Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Oxford Youth and PIPPAMS webinar today. We'll be talking during this webinar. We'll be discussing some topics. We will be discussing a variety of topics. We're going to be talking about how you can make your application stand out on Oxford Youth initiatives, how participation in competitions and summer schools can shape your future university admissions and career successes, the role of extracurricular activities, how these can help you out in when you apply for top global universities, and of course, how PIPPAMS plays into all of this and helps you in your quest for international academic opportunities. But before we get into all of that, I'd like to introduce our very esteemed panel here. Today we have Joe Fox with us. Joe Fox serves as the Director of Global Inclusion and Youth Education, following a 9-year tenure as a Director of Marketing and Communications at Oxford Saïd. She has also been expanding a portfolio of short business-focused programs for high school students such as yourself and undergraduates as well. She's a passionate advocate for DEI initiatives. She also chairs the Professional Women's Network at Oxford Saïd and actively champions numerous DEI initiatives across the school. It's like from her old profile, her dedication to empowering young minds and fostering inclusive education, it's extremely inspiring. And she continues to create meaningful changes in this global landscape. And we're so glad to have you here, Joe.
Thank you very much. And hello, everyone. And apologies that you can't see a nice Oxford background behind us. But we've been working really hard today to create some fantastic programs for you all that we'd love to tell you about during this session. But we can send you lots of pictures of Oxford so we can prove that we're here.
I think the profile of our panel more than makes up for the lack of background on Parijam. We also have with us Anshul Sharma. He's gathered numerous years in marketing, PR, and public relations, and that in turn got him his current role as the project director at Oxford Saïd Business School. He's actively involved in collaborating with multiple stakeholders to identify audience interests, develop go-to-market plans, and secure international collaborations. I think from going through Anshul's profile, I see sort of a commitment to shaping globally relevant programs that resonate with diverse audiences, such as the one on this call, and also driving meaningful partnerships. Thank you so much for coming here, Anshul. We're happy to have you here.
Thank you, Sagan, and it's a pleasure to be with my colleague Joe and with you and Krithvi on the webinar today.
Yeah. And lastly, my boss, Krithvi. Over the last 3.5 years at SI, Krithvi here has worn multiple hats. She, as the founder and the former head of the research and analytics team, Krithvi has made several data-driven student admissions outcomes. Over the last year and a half, she's transitioned a little bit. She's been heading the program and partnerships at PIPPAMS, where working with her, we've developed this whole platform into a very dynamic space for high school students to explore extracurricular opportunities. In her role as the head of student success at SI, she's completely crushed it. She continues to guide students towards meaningful academic pathways and, of course, providing very personalized support and impact. Thank you, Krithvi, so much for joining us.
Thanks again. Apart from all the flattering, I'm happy to be here. And thank you, Joe and Anshul. This is the second year for our collaboration with PIPPAMS and our third year with SI, and we're super, super excited to get started. So, Sagan, why don't you take us away with the first question to Joe and Anshul?
Yeah. So I have a list of questions prepared for all of you, and my first question is going to be directed towards Joe and Anshul here. And starting with, let's talk about the Oxford Climate Change Challenge. A lot of the students in this call are probably very curious about it. And I wanted to sort of ask, like, during this challenge, how do we exactly make students, how do students make their submissions stand out?
I think Ashil, you can answer that one.
Sure. Well, thank you, Joe. Thank you, Sagan, for this question. Well, the Oxford Saïd Global Climate Change Challenge is in its third year now, and we started the journey about 2.5 years. Came up with the idea of engaging youth across the world to address one of the most pressing concerns of our time, which is climate change. So as part of the competition, we asked the students to form teams of 3 to 5 students across the globe. The best part about the competition is that the students don't have to be from the same school. They don't have to be from the same geography. They could be from spread out across the world literally, and come together and submit a solution addressing one of the 5 themes that we have that we provide the students. And in addition to the presentation, we asked the students to also submit a 3-minute video talking about the proposed solution. The solution doesn't have to be an invention or a new solution to climate change crisis. It could either be, like I said, it could either be a completely new solution, or it could be, say, it could be a research done and with the right tools applied. It could be how do you better or how do you make the most out of the existing solutions. And the third part is, well, it doesn't have to be a working model as well. It could be purely based on research, which, if given the right resources, including funding and the technology and the other resources required, that the solution could turn into reality. Well, over the last 2 years, we've received more than 1,700 entries combined over the last 2 years from over, I think, about 70, 75 different countries, if I'm being honest. And to be honest, we've absolutely been blown away by the solutions that the students have come up with. And I can certainly, with Joe's permission, I can certainly speak not just for myself, but also for our esteemed judging panel, where we've received feedback that some of the solutions are really amazing. So, in a nutshell, in a brief, I can just to run you through the competition as well. We ask the students to submit the solutions, and then the top 5 entries are judged as finalists. And what's different this year as compared to last year is that instead of taking the students to COP, the students will get to come to Oxford and present their solutions in person. And the winning team ends up with a full scholarship for the Future Climate Innovators Summer School Program for next year, whereas the runner-up teams end up with partial scholarship for the summer school programs next year.
Wow, that sounds absolutely exciting. And the fact that over 75 countries you've received submissions from them, it's mind-boggling to me. Especially when you consider that probably there's so many contexts behind each kid from each country and what sort of solutions they bring to the table. Speaking of which, I'd like to continue on that question actually. You, of course, participating in this competition in itself is like must be a very enlightening experience for students. But also, sort of, how does this competition and the summer school as well, because the summer school itself is it's an amazing opportunity. How does this shape their future careers? I mean, I want more along the lines of what kind of programs or more kind of futures have the past participants of this competition and the summer school have had, essentially.
I'll let Joe answer about the summer school programs and the impact that the programs have had on our graduates from last year.
Yes, thank you. So we were really blown away with the quality of the students that attended our summer school last year. And in terms of quality, I also mean, their passion as well. After undertaking the 2-week summer school, what we do is, because it's an academic program, we are able to award the students with a certificate from Oxford University. So the students last year use their certificates to support their university applications. And from the feedback that we've had from the students, a lot of them say that they managed to get interviews at top universities using this certificate, which they probably may not have necessarily, achieved, because it really made them stand out. Some of the students got offers at Oxford, others at Imperial College London, King's College London, Hong Kong University, etc. So a lot of the top universities. And the students I've spoken to tell me that when they actually got to the interview stage, they actually had something really interesting to talk about. So, for them, that was, not only did they get a deeper understanding about the topics that we teach, and, developed a network of really important academics that they can call on, and also a network of other students. But also the fact is that they are able to use this certificate, which will really help them in terms of, their future study aspirations. And we're hoping that in turn that particularly for students who attend our Future Entrepreneurs Programme, that it will also help them in terms of securing more funding as well for their amazing ideas.
100%.
And just to add to Joe's point, I mean, some of the feedback we received from the students was the certificate did help in terms of for the university applications, but more importantly, it also helped with the students getting scholarships from those respective universities.
Yes.
So that's a very, you could say, a very crucial element on, needless to say, it goes to show, obviously, if you get an academic certification from the University of Oxford, it's priceless, to be honest. So, yeah.
100%. As expected when you talk about a big name like Oxford, of course. And I'd like to sort of direct this toward Prithvi also, since PIPPAMS, we're sort of working with extracurricular activities as well. And looking at Oxford, let's say, Prithvi, I'd like to ask, like, how exactly do extracurricular activities in general boost university admissions? I think there is some sort of a misconception that this has always been sort of relevant to US admissions only, and I'd like you to clear the air a little bit on that, if you could.
Definitely. So also before moving to admissions, I'd also like to kind of discuss that firstly, activities just help students also figure out what academic path they want to pursue, firstly. And secondly, to experience that in a non-academic setting is essentially important, because what we study within the classrooms is also a single kind of teaching method that doesn't necessarily inform a student whether they would like a career in the environmental sciences, for example, a career in engineering, or perhaps even in entrepreneurship. So that kind of connect with academic disciplines outside the classroom space is very important, and that is why the summer school and the competitions that Oxford launches are also very, firstly, not only prestigious. I mean, that's something we already know, but just the opportunity to be able to mingle with people from across the globe, network with them, and learn from the best of the best. So that's definitely one thing. But now coming to the admissions bits again, you very correctly pointed out that extracurricular activities are primarily looked at from a US admissions lens, which is, in my opinion, I'd say that's a bit incorrect. Yes, the UK, Hong Kong, Singapore, a lot of the story is dependent on the grades and transcripts. We're not denying that. All we are saying that the relevant extracurriculars are valuable for showing commitment to the subject. And essentially that can also help you enhance your your statement of purpose. So while a student's transcript shows what they have studied, extracurriculars show why the students actually care. If I have two students who are both 90 percenters, how do I choose between the two? I choose the one who cares. And these are the kind of activities that help them demonstrate this care towards the subject that they are inclined towards.
Yeah, like really good point about the 290 percenters. I think that makes a lot of sense for all the kids that we have on this call right now. Like again, developing on the question, Prithvi, then in this context, in the context of competitive settings like the climate change challenge and the summer schools, of course, how important do you think they are for students just from a skill building perspective as like aspiring innovators and of course prospective undergraduate students?
Right. Thanks for that, Sagin. And actually, I'd like Anshul and Joe's help in this question as well, and they'd be able to help me. But essentially, what I imagine the Oxford competition and the summer school experiences for them to be is that students are attempting to solve real world problems and helping them think like innovators, not just learners. That means you're essentially kind of building up on an idea from your own original thought and skills, and then networking in that process in order to enhance that idea. So, Anshul and Joe, I'd like to ask you guys as well, what kind of networking opportunities would you perhaps provide within the summer school space where students can meet other students from kind of different countries, different demographics, and how does this essentially help them create a more fuller profile?
Thank you. So we deliberately select a global cohort of students because it's really important that students can really appreciate different cultural differences, the way, business is done in different countries. So I'll just give you one little example. Last summer, we had a student from China. And we asked the students to work on in teams on presentations. And they have a project they have to do, and throughout the 2 weeks, which is really important because it really helps embed some of the business skills and the presentation skills and the pitching skills that we teach them. Anyway, this Chinese student was talking to his fellow teammates who were from all different countries. And they were talking about how do we go about researching the idea. And so the other teammates said, oh, we'll just Google it. And the Chinese boy said, what's Google? Because they don't have it in China. So then this discussion continued about how they market and promote products in China. And actually, when that team came together to give their presentation at the end of the 2 weeks, they really thought through properly how you go about promoting either an idea, a service, or a product globally, to the best of their abilities, which they hadn't actually thought really through all of the implications before. So that's just one tiny example of it. But we found last year at the school, all the students, really enjoyed finding out about everybody's different cultures. Most of them have kept in touch with each other. We have built a youth network, alumni network, at our school. So any student attending our summer programs, and also we'll start opening it up to the competition as well, they will have access to be able to attend special webinars given by our industry experts and our professors. And also, we'll start organising some events as well so that they can all start connecting and sharing ideas.
Wow.
Do you want to add anything?
Well, I would actually, or not have, but I would actually request Joe to, shed more light in terms of how the summer schools came about. and how, in terms of when we talk about, we like to use this term internally amongst our small team about how we are democratizing the opportunities for the youth around the globe. Because, as you know, Oxford has been very exclusive, and so let Joe please, tell us more about it.
Yes, so at the university, and particularly at our business school, we haven't ever provided programs for pre-university students. At the university, they run a few at the colleges, but not as a university. So this has been a really exciting new initiative for us. The thing that when we started the summer programs, we were questioned a little bit by our professors because they weren't used to teaching pre-university students, and we actually had to train them to how to teach. And our university professors who then reported back that they were completely blown away with the questions and the quality of the students coming to our summer schools. And in fact, some of them, I know this has been recorded, but a couple of them said that they actually, they have better questions and had better engagement than our MBA students have. So they were really, really impressed. And so now we have them queuing up, wanting to teach the students on our summer school programs.
Right.
Which is fantastic.
No, I mean I think that's also the power of collaborative learning, right? These students within their classrooms, you might not know that they might have the brightest questions, but if you're saying that they're asking more interesting questions than MBA students themselves, that's something to think about, definitely, that students these days are really putting in efforts and really trying to make a mark in the kind of subject that they do want to pursue. Thank you so much for sharing that example, especially the Google one. I think that was a very culturally relevant example, right, Sagin?
Yeah, 100%. I think what Joe has talked about, what Joe has said about the Oxford summer schools and all, it kind of shows that they really put a lot of effort into creating a cohort that actually, lives up to the standard that we all associate Oxford with. And the fact that now that standard is becoming globalized and democratized, in Anshul's word, is just amazing to hear in general. It's and that's why Oxford is Oxford, I guess. And but like I just wanted to know a little bit more about this application process. What is exactly, how do students apply for these summer programs? What sort of rounds do they have to go through? How are they vetted?
So I'll take that one. So there's an application form link on our website, and so students have to just give some details about themselves, the subjects that they are studying, the school that they are at, and we ask them 3 questions. So really, why do they want to attend our summer school? Also, what are they going to bring to the summer school, and what are they hoping to get out of it? So we're not expecting pages and pages. I think we say we just want 300 words maximum on each question. And what
I think, yeah. Is there a network issue, Krithna?
From there,
we
maybe.
recognize that students, it's really confusing time for students thinking about what they want to do in their future. So what we build into our summer programs is we provide them with access and sessions with our university admissions advisors so that they can ask them all sorts of questions about, gosh, what should I put on my application form? What's going to make me stand out? What sort of questions am I going to be asked? in the interview process. We recognise that a lot of students, sadly for us, will not apply to Oxford, but it's really useful tips for any university that students might be wanting to apply to. The other thing we also do is we have a fantastic careers team here at the business school who are finding amazing careers for all of our MBA students. And they run sessions giving hints and tips about how you improve your resume. Because as we all know, when you haven't got much work experience on your resume, how do you stand out? So they help students with that. They help students with polishing up their LinkedIn profiles and all those really, really important things. So we really try and think about, not only are students getting a deeper dive into some of the subjects, but really what are the skills, the business skills that are, applicable, whatever subject you go on to study. What's the experience you really need to understand about really being a student, an undergraduate student. So we like to say that on our summer programs in particular, we are providing you with, it's like 2 weeks as an undergraduate student at Oxford. What's it really going to be like? We also, our student ambassadors, we handpick them from all of the different colleges at Oxford. Oxford is a really confusing place. We have 40 odd different colleges, and when you apply to Oxford, you apply to a college first and then the university. And it's so confusing. So the student ambassadors that we pick are from all the different colleges, so they can tell the students really what it's like studying at some of those colleges. But also we try and select them about what subjects they're studying so that the students attending our summer programs can really quiz them. What's it really like to be studying mathematics as a degree? What's it really like to be studying environmental sciences, etc.? So they're getting a bit more of an insight from, people who are actually there and doing it. Does that help?
Yeah, 100%. That's a really, really good answer. And I think it's very important, like for students to get an experience of, a lot of these kids, they're dreaming about going to Oxford and how it's going to, what it's going to be like. And these summer schools are sort of a bridge that, that gives you a taste of what life could be like. There's just one worry I have here sometimes that, and I think a lot of students will relate with me on this. And Krithvi, if you could shed a little light on this, but uh, there's opportunities like these which are most or almost every student is dying for, but at the same time, there is a certain pressure to maintain their current academic life in school and pursuing all of these out of school activities. Right? I think there's always like this pressure for a kid to, decide between one or the other. And I think Krithvi has some really good points that she'd like to share, maybe.
Thanks again. So definitely you're right. There's a lot of pressure on students out there at the moment, and everything just feels like a lot. I mean, I think we've been discussing how students these days are at a more advanced level than they are supposed to be at. That means they're growing at a very fast pace, but that could also mean a lot of additional pressure for them. It constantly could feel like you're trying to build a perfect profile. But in this case, students need to understand that there is no one perfect profile, but perhaps the perfect profile for yourself at the end of the day. So, I mean, I think all of us also experience this on a daily basis, not even high school students, but even us with LinkedIn and social media outbursts happening at the moment. Everyone's achievements are just on display all the time. And the comparison really never stops. The one advice that I'd like to give here is that balance looks different for each student, and it's really important for us as educators, and perhaps even if there are parents here, for them to recognize that that balance for everyone looks different, and in order for a student to succeed, there needs to be not a perfect profile, but perhaps a more sustained engagement towards an academic discipline, right? So, if, for example, if I am a 95% and I want to study mathematics at Oxford, um, and I'm at a very high level already. I've done all the mathematics Olympiads, I've done the national ones, the international ones, I've done a program at Oxford. Great, but am I being able to fully sustainably show that I'm interested in this subject or not? I think that's where it comes in. So, for example, if there was a student who came to us who said that, hey, I want to build my profile in the environmental sciences, what I would advise would be that, hey, maybe do 2 or 3 biology and chemistry Olympiads. Then I'll say one of the biggest competitions for the environmental studies and sciences is the Oxford Climate Change Challenge. So definitely do participate in it. And it's not very time consuming. That's something that you can definitely do. And when it comes to summer schools, you see how much time you have. If SAT prep is getting too much, maybe don't burden yourself right now. Of course, do a summer program at some point during a high school journey, but you don't need to do everything all at once. And that's why there are people here to support you. I mean, at the end of the day, balance isn't about doing everything. It's about doing what's meaningful to you and doing it in a sustained manner. Um, I'd also like to say that if anyone's interested in, the Oxford Summer School, and if you are building a profile in perhaps entrepreneurship or the environment, I mean, definitely explore these programs because they're targeted towards the youth. And when something is targeted towards the youth, the organizers also do recognize that we're dealing with young adults at this point, and there needs to be a certain kind of process with inducting them into any program or perhaps any competition, challenge, a competitive ecosystem, for example. So that's what just choose opportunities that are reliable, that don't take up maybe too much of your time, that give a very good cost benefit analysis by the end of it. The benefits should outweigh the cost essentially. And this is why I would also personally promote the Oxford programs for this, because they're sustainable, they're relatively short, they're very, very rigorous, and you get to meet the best of best. So yeah, thank you.
I I think it's also like that, there's so many activities out there, and Ritvi, you talking about, or kids deciding what exactly they want to pursue. It kind of leads me to think about exactly what PIPPAMS is. It's sort of a tool for students to use. And if you don't mind, I think this would be the perfect opportunity for us to maybe talk a little bit about how PIPPAMS sort of plays a role in helping these students, navigate all this academic
Right.
pressure and extracurricular activities and all.
Right. I mean, firstly, in the simplest of words, it's a platform where you can discover and manage extracurricular activities as a high school student. So I think that it's very important for us to first understand that. Secondly, when we're talking about the kind of activities that are on the platform, our parent company is SI Education. We've been consulting students for more than a decade about what kind of profile they should be building in order to kind of target the best. And many of our students have also completed the challenges by Oxford, also doing their bachelor's programs at Oxford. So definitely these activities are very helpful in kind of shaping an overall profile. Now, the activities that we do have again are very rigorous, and but at the same time, they also give a breakdown into what how to participate in an activity essentially. And so again, that's why I liked your question to Anshul and Joe before this. You asked, how do you apply to the summer schools, right? That's a very that can be a complicated questions, especially when there's just so many application forms for summer schools, or perhaps just so much going on. And PIPPAMS essentially helps you break these steps down into very actionable steps and being like, hey, for this application, you need to do this today. Hey, for this activity, you need to do this today. And by providing these simple set of instructions, you can not only discover these activities, but also just complete it by the end of it. What essentially you come up with in the next 3 or 4 years, or by the time you finish high school, is a list of very rigorous activities that you can show on your college applications to an Oxford, a Cambridge, an LSE, an Imperial, etc., and craft a statement of purpose around those activities in order to share why you are so passionate about the subject that you are passionate about. So it's a long journey, and but like Anshul said, that Oxford is democratizing a certain portion of their services. I mean, that's what I think SI is doing with PIPPAMS. Um, it's pretty cheap. It's about 500 rupees per year. That's a little bit less than 5 GBP a year, I'd say. So
Little
not
bit
too bad
less,
at
give it
all.
a
Very good. It's very good deal.
So yeah, not too bad at all. We also have a free version for people who'd like to first test their fingers on it, and then if they like it, they can buy it. And yep, thank you.
I think Oxford Youth and I think they've been in partnership for about 3 years, and with PIPPAMS itself, they've been in partnership for 2 years now. If Anshul and Joe wouldn't mind, I would really like to ask them how this partnership has been sort of been for them so far.
Yeah,
Thanks to answer that.
yes, sure. Thank you. Well, thank you, Sagar, and thank you, Gritli. Yes, I think we've been collaborating mostly in the climate change challenge for almost 3 years now, the third year. So it has been it has been really nice, to be honest, and to be able to you can say collaborate with Gritli and her colleagues, and from raising awareness about the competition to also having judges from PIPPAMS and ESI to assess the student entries has been really helpful, and I hope that the same has been reciprocated by the judges to your team as well quickly. So overall, it has been exciting, and then on the youth programs front, obviously, we started with one program last year. This year we have four, although we do have a few very limited spots for three programs this year. And like Kriti was talking about PIPPAMS, I mean, and I was saying earlier about democratizing opportunities. So one of the things I would like to mention is, which was interesting that you mentioned, was about the pressure on students, and particularly, coming from India, we understand the pressure in terms of academic grades that the students probably, not just from family and friends, but from a societal point of view as well. So, the best part about our youth programs is that we do not ask for grades. All right, we much rather look for students who are passionate in respective fields of study that we are offering. So we obviously, we've been talking about climate change. So we did start with the Future Climate Innovators Summer School, which is all about climate change and sustainability. Last year, this year we have a Future Entrepreneurs program, and then we also have an AI and machine learning pioneers program that we have launched. And I'm sure you can find details on the link that we put in the chat, as well as you can find details on PIPPAM's website, who have who are also got the information up there. So, well, just like to ask the students and the parents who are attending, well, definitely have a look at it, and if you feel that it is the right fit for you, make the most of it and apply now, or rather than waiting till the end. Like I said, there are very few spots remaining for now, but please, make the most of it.
Yes, and that's the climate change challenge on PIPPAMS. The deadline is 30th June, if I'm not wrong, Anshul. Is that correctly updated on the website?
Yes, that's correct. Yes.
Lovely. And it's free to participate. And for environmental science students, it's a big, big, big profile boost. So definitely, and it's not a very difficult challenge to enter. And like Anshul said about the summer programs, the application processes are short, they're concise, they're to the point, and that's the kind of activities we like, Anshul. High value stuff that is not very difficult to apply to. Students can easily sign up. So
Yeah,
thank you.
they can sign up, yes, but just to add, as part of the selection process, although grades are not a requirement, but they do have to go through an extensive interview.
That would be competitive, yes.
Yes,
That would definitely be
with
competitive, yeah.
Joe or one of our colleagues. And
Right.
see, the interviews are basically about assessing you can say, the passion of each student in the chosen field of study. So, these are not subjective interviews, these are more like
Yes,
Joe.
and I know it's always very daunting, isn't it, when you think, oh my gosh, I'm going to be interviewed by someone. And particularly when you think, oh my gosh, I'm going to be interviewed by somebody from the University of Oxford. And sometimes when I'm interviewing students, I can just see the fear in their eyes when they suddenly see me. But for me, it's about having a conversation and just finding out about the students and their motivations, and just finding out a little bit about all of you, because it's really important that if you come on our programs, we want you to have a good time. We want you to be able to mix and network with the other students. So please don't think it's going to be a scary experience. Actually, one of the things I meant to add, a couple of the students who attended our summer school last year, I went to meet them a few weeks ago, and they were in China, funny enough.
Okay.
And they were telling me that what the experience had given them above anything else was confidence.
Yeah.
And they said when they actually started, they got there the first day, everybody's nervous, no one's confident at all, but they quickly made friends, but they used that confidence that we helped them with. We gave them confidence in their abilities, their skills, etc., so they could take those back to their schools and their studies afterwards. But it also gave them the confidence to dream bigger. So some of the students who thought, I could never ever apply to Oxford, this is ridiculous, they did apply. 2 of them have got offers of places. So that's the thing that is really important for us, that it's about giving people confidence. So don't worry if you have an interview with me and you're really shy. Then I really, really don't mind at all. So that's all I have to say on that. I think I'm quite a nice person to interview.
We know that, Joe. You're wonderful. Definitely. If you have an interview with Joe, please don't be scared. Joe's absolutely wonderful. And there's, I think, one thing that I'd like to conclude with Joe on that note, that what you said about, that you guys don't consider grades for the summer programs, and that's such a delight, because, I mean, at the end of the day, why was PIPPAMS built? Why was Oxford Youth built, right? It's to provide students with the confidence to go out there, outside of their safe haven, which is the school, and just achieve brilliant things. Even apart from admissions, I think we should just celebrate the fact that students can do, and this is to empower them. And I think that should be my closing notes. Anshul, Joe, anything else before we kind of open the floor up to questions?
Well, there's one thing I would like to mention, that our youth education programs are the only official youth education programs from the University of Oxford. So our programs, if you attend one of our programs, the youth programs, you will get a certificate from the University of Oxford, and these are the only programs which offer that. There's no other program other than these 4 that we have this year that could provide you a certificate from the University of Oxford.
The only other thing I think we need to add is the experience of entering the competition and what happens at the finals, because I think that's really important. It's a fantastic experience.
Yeah. So as you know, Prithvi and Saïd, so till about last year, we were taking all the finalist students and teachers to the to COP. But this year we have decided to bring the students to Oxford for the student finals.
Wow.
Yes, so the global
It's
finals
amazing.
challenge will be held at Oxford, Saïd. And from the finals of from the past 2 years, we've seen as the judging panel consists of, you can say, well, from our academics to you can say to a career diplomat at the UN. I mean, you name it, we have them on the judging panel. And in addition to the judging panel, it's also the audience that comes to witness the finals. Last year, we had more than 150 attendees at COP, which came to attend the student finals, which consisted of ministers, deputy ministers, you can say journalists, you name whichever profession, they were all there. So for the students, participating in the competition, it's obviously completely free of cost. Even if you get selected as a finalist, there is no cost at whatever level whatsoever. We never ask you for anything. So the finalists, obviously, everything is taken care by us. And what the finals do provide the students is a great platform to have their voices heard on the global stage. And in addition to being finalists, we also encourage all the students to contribute articles and to that we can publish on our resources portal as well. So participating in the competition, I mean, we understand that obviously everyone wants to win, but then through the competition you can open a lot many doors in terms of contributing articles for that could be published on our portal, to having this huge network, access to this huge network of your fellow competitors, as well as these you can say these wide variety of people and experts that you meet during different stages of the competition as well.
Right. Yeah, a little bit
Thank
of
you so
advice
much.
for everyone here as well. I think, like Anshul said, doesn't matter if you win or lose, guys. Participate in a lot of different things. Participate in what interests you. You're here to learn. We're all here to learn. This is not life or death. So take this opportunity to have some fun with what you're learning. And yeah, thanks so much.